Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to amazing video. Just to kind of get things started off, this is going to be spoilers. Before you guys click off, I will leave a link to the actual light novels in the description below. If you guys are interested in actually reading them and you don't want me to spoil everything for y'all, please feel free to read them, okay? So like I said, this is spoilers. I'm not analyzing the thing, I'm actually telling you what is going on in the novel, okay? I'm summarizing everything as quickly as I could. It's like a 200-page novel. If you want to read it, please read it. I'm leaving stuff out, all that good shit. So without further ado, here we go. So basically this takes place right after season 4. I mean, obviously all that good shit. The novel starts off with Akeno and Rias fighting over who gets to give Issei a kiss in the morning. Akeno explains Rias believes that she is weak and she was holding Issei back in that raiding game against Cyroorg. Later on, they continue to talk a little bit. Gasper apparently has been doing training by himself in the morning because he also feels like he is weak and holding people back, as was seen in Season 4. When they go to breakfast, they notice that Issei notices that Koneko doesn't look like she usually does. There's something wrong with her. There's something different about her. She's really red in the face, and she, like I said, once again, she's a lot different than usual. Basically, Sir Zek shows up. Issei, Kiba, and Akeno all get recommended to take the mid-class double exams by him. He tells them that the exam's going to be next week. They're expected to be high-ranking devils, but they want them to go through the mid-class devils just for, like, promotion's sake, to follow the rules. Anyway, Issei asks what the test entails. Apparently it's a writing test and a physical test as well. They tell him he needs to work on the writing test and he doesn't really need to worry about the physical one because he's already very strong. After this, Rosvisa heads back to Valhalla, or Valhalla, however you pronounce it, to meet someone to train with, and Ravel is made Issei's manager. So anyway, some time passes. There's a scene with Koneko. She goes into Issei's room late at night. She got her tail of cat ears out. She starts acting very erotic and asking to have Issei's baby. Then Rias shows up and decides to call the beast tamer named Abe. I'm sure I probably butchered that name, but he is from the tennis team. Turns out it's mating season for Nico Matas or whatever. Once again, another side note, I'm horrible with pronunciations. I'm from Texas, so that's what we get. So Koneko's body, as is discovered, is too small, and if she does actually get pregnant or have a child, it could kill her and the baby as well. They believe that Rias and Issei's relationship is the reason that her instincts kicked in, that she went into, basically went into heat, and she is on some kind of medication now so that she can kind of relax, but they don't want to rely on it too because it could damage her instincts and keep them from kicking in later. They tell Issei he's just going to have to deal with her and not knock her up. So anyway, after all this is cleared up, Azazel, towards the end of this chapter, tells everybody that he's going to be bringing a special visitor over to see them. He tells them that they are not supposed to attack this visitor and that it's very crucial for them to listen to what the visitor has to say. Alright, the next day, Ophis is brought up to meet the Occult Research Club. Everybody starts freaking out, and they're very hesitant to trust her because she's the leader of the Chaos Brigade or whatever. Ophis brings Lefay and Fenrir the wolf along with Kuroka with them, and they have a little chat, and that's all they really want. Ophis and Issei, they have a little tea party. Ophis talks to Drake about what his plans are and what he will become if he continues to use boobs to power up. Anyway, the whole reason that Ophis shows up is she's intrigued by Issei and decides that she wants to stay with him in the house for a little bit longer. Ultimately, Rias and Issei, though hesitant, they do agree that they will let her stay and just observe Issei. Anyway, fast forward, there's a little scene between Koneko, Issei, and Kuroka, erotic stuff. gonna just pop a picture up right there. Boom. Let y'all check that out. I'm not gonna spoil all that. If y'all want to read it, go read the light novel. So basically, as it ends, Ravel comes in and cock blocks everybody. With this, afterwards, Issei, Kiba, and Akeno take their devil test and they pass it. There's a side note in the test. Issei, on the physical test, almost practically kills the guy he's fighting against. He smashes him through a wall, and there's just a massive damage. But everyone passes the test, thankfully. So, after the test, everyone goes to a hotel to eat, and they talk about bullshit for a minute, and Ophis and her gang show up, and they're under some kind of magic spell, so nobody can see them, so they're just kind of there, hanging out. Then, a very familiar mist shows up. The same mist that we got to see in Season 4, that purple, whatever, colored mist. I may find a picture of it, may not, whatever. Anyway, it shows up. George is there, and he's along with... I forget how, I don't know how to spell it, or I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. This guy, this dickhead right here, he shows up. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. So, they're both there, and he starts talking smack. He's talking smack to Issei, talking smack to everybody else. They're trapped in some kind of a thing, like always, like last time. So, with that going on, George summons the only person that they think is capable of destroying the devils. The fucking Doom guy. Just kidding. They summon Samael, the Dragon Eater. He shows up, not as cool as the Doom guy, but he's still there. Samael fucking eats Ophis, basically. He shoots a giant tentacle out, starts eating her, and draining her power, basically, as we go on. While this is going on, Cacao, that is not great, sorry. This guy, this dickhead, shows back up, and he just starts just kicking everybody's ass, basically, just to sum things up. He just starts kicking everybody's ass, and everybody gets, like, injured just about, and that's where it happens. He states that his plan is to drain Ophis's powers, to do some crazy thing, and create a new Ophis, and then take over the world. At some point during the fight, Volley was swapped out for Fenrir the wolf, and that's just side note, something that needs to be said. Volley gets hit with the curse of Samael and is damaged. Samael is a dragon eater. He's something from like the old days, and basically he's even more dangerous he's specifically built for like killing dragons. That's what he's there for. So anyway, basically, long story short, everybody gets completely screwed. That's what happens. Everybody just gets completely screwed. After the fight, after Cao Cao beats everybody, he receives notice that something has changed. Something, because he's very good at planning. Something he had planned for, or didn't plan for, has happened. So he teleports out, he leaves. He leaves George there to try and deal with the situation, and they send Samael away. With this, the other group, they all leave, and they move down to the center of the hotel because they were apparently on the roof. It's like a 60-story hotel. They move down to the 30th floor. And they set up a camp there with a magic barrier. It is there they find out that Volley is not actually that bad of a guy. They did do terrorist things. There is that. I'm not gonna say he's not a bad dude, but he is more of a adventurer. What he would do in his spare time whenever he wasn't following orders given to him by higher ups is he was hunting for heroes whose status was alive, dead, or unknown. He was just trying to find powerful people to either fight or join his team or whatever, and that's just kind of what he did. Anyway, they continue to talk about bullshit. Doesn't really matter. And they're trying to figure out a safe way to get out of this situation. They are trapped inside of George's barrier, and they need to find a way out. But on the outside of the barrier that LeFay made, they are being surrounded by Grim Reapers that are being sent in by Hades, presumably, right? So, finally with this, Rias ends up coming up with a plan. Issei uses his cannons on his shoulders to destroy 2 of the 3 barriers that are holding the the big barrier up. Issei just destroys 2 of the 3, and they move on. With those 2 destroyed, Irina and Zenobia are teleported out, and they are sent to Surzex and Lord Michael to basically report the situation and be like, hey, listen, there's some shit going on, like, we need help. So, as they continue to go on, they all have to run down to the parking lot to try and destroy this last barrier so they can get out. While they are doing that, Pluto, a super crazy mega Grim Reaper, shows up, and he fights Azazel, and along with that, Siegfried returns, and he fights Kiba. While this is going on, George is summoning Grim Reapers outside. They are fighting everybody. There's a shit ton. They start filling up the area. There's just too many to handle. With this, Issei literally goes like almost the same way in Kyoto. He summons Rias's boobs or whatever to power up like usual. Fucking like that's what we get. As Issei powers up this time, however, Rias's boobs actually shrink in size. He takes more power than he did in Kyoto, and her tits actually get smaller. Issei starts to freak out. He's like, "Whoa!" And Rias tries to reassure him. She's like, "Oh, they'll be fine after I have a good night's sleep." So, after this, basically everybody stops fighting. There's a Mexican standoff. And they try and figure out how Issei is going to just deal with these people, because he's at this time he's like the strongest one of the ones, because everybody else has been damaged or injured or whatever. During this, before anybody can do anything, Shalba Beelzebub shows back up. Shalba basically comes out, flaunts his cock size, and decides to declare war on Siegfried and George. During this, Pluto teleports out. Shalba also reveals that he is a pedophile. He stole Leonardo, who was a member of the Chaos Brigade or whatever. This kid, this little boy's power is the Annihilation Maker. Basically, long story short of it, the dude creates monsters. So this little kid is under Shalba's mind control or whatever. He's under Shalba's control. He uses this kid's ability to create this giant monster, along with a few smaller ones, with the intent to sick them on the underworld and destroy all of the devils in existence for basically abandoning him as the true Mao or whatever. He's pissed. After he teleports these monsters out, he captures Ophis and then rants a bit, and basically the dude's gone crazy. He's pissed, he's upset, he's just completely hell-bent on revenge. After this, everybody else decides that it's time to teleport out. The barrier's gone, they're trying to get away. With the monsters or something, the world around them is starting to collapse. Everything is falling apart dimensionally, so Issei decides he wants to do a different thing. They tell them they're going to teleport out, and Issei's like, no, listen, I just got all this power, I'm going to fight this guy, I'm going to kill him, and I'm going to move on with my day. So as Issei fights this guy, before Issei goes to fight this guy, Azazel promises he's going to use the Dragon Gate to summon him and Ophis back once he wins. With this, Rias also makes Issei promise that he's going to return, because they love each other. In this light novel, this is something that they did a lot. Issei always talks about how much he loves Rias. He likes the other girls, but Rias is his number one. That is his thing. So basically, Issei and Shalba, they duke it out. Issei clearly has the upper hand in this fight, because Shalba is still damaged from something. I don't remember what, but he's still damaged from something. He does not at full power. So Issei is just destroying this dude, and Shalba pulls out his last resort, and because he thinks that he's going to be fighting Volley, he shoots Issei with an arrow. Shoots Issei with an arrow that was actually tainted with Samael's blood. So basically he poisons Issei. Just to come up with it, he poisons Issei with the arrow. Issei fights through the pain and continues to fight Shalba, and he gives this amazing quote. He says, "You tried to take away the smiles of the children. That is enough of a reason for you to get beaten up. I am the children's hero who plays the role of the Opie dragon. If you are trying to take their future away from them, then I will kill you right here." So with this, he deals the final blow. It's some kind of a magic blast, and basically just fucking disintegrates this devil. He's gone. Fucking dies. So anyway, after Shalba is dead, Ophis questions why Issei would help her. Issei states that it is because she saved Asya and Irina earlier. The two talk, and Issei believes, or realizes basically, that Ophis isn't inherently evil. She just got caught up with the wrong people. She's pure at heart. She just wants to go back. Ophis just wants to go back to the dimensional gap and wants to have peace, as we all know. She just wants peace. So Issei asks her if she will be his friend, and finally Ophis agrees. As this happened, the area around the two collapses, and they are both sucked into the dimensional gap. I'm going to skip a little bit. There's a little scene between this. I highly recommend you go read it. It's very, very very heart-wrenching. Please go read it. Shortly after, the scene cuts to Azazel and the others who are attempting to open up the Dragon Gate to summon Issei and Ophis. The portal is open finally, but all that comes through are 8 evil pawn pieces. Basically, this is the death of Issei. So, like I said, very sad chapter. That's the end of this light novel. If you guys want more, I will be more than happy to do another one. I just wanted to get this out. Nobody else did this. If you guys like the content, please consider subscribing to me. I will do more stuff like this. Consider supporting me on Patreon. I will leave a link somewhere. Anyway, that's basically it. I will catch y'all guys in the next episode if this catches on. Thank y'all very much.